On Father's Day, my daughter gave her father-in-law a $10,000 Rolex. And me? She gave me $15 socks from a discount store. No card, no note, not even a hug, and I smiled. Because that's what you do when your heart shatters in front of everyone and no one seems to notice. I sat there in her backyard, surrounded by polite laughter and clinking glasses, watching Harold the polished, smug, country club father-in-law slip that Rolex onto his wrist like he'd just won something, while I held a gift bag that still had the clearance sticker on the bottom. It wasn't about the money. It never was. But it was what the gifts meant to what they screamed on. It was louder than anything anyone said that day. My daughter Layla once wrapped drawings in construction paper and called me the best dad in the world. Now she gave that title to another man while I sat 6 feet away. And the worst part, I wasn't surprised. Not really. Somewhere deep down, I think I'd already felt it coming for years. The slow drift, the polite distance, the way she stopped calling unless she needed something, the way she started referring to Harold as Dad in conversations, like it was no big deal. I told myself I was imagining it, told myself she was just busy with life, with motherhood, with a husband whose ego filled every room he walked into. But sitting there watching her toast Harold while barely acknowledging me told me all I needed to know. My role in her life had been reduced to an obligation. I used to be her hero, her protector, her everything. I was the one who stayed up all night when she had nightmares, who taught her to ride a bike, who built her dollhouse with my bare hands and fixed it every time the roof came loose. I was the one who packed her lunchboxes with little notes, who drove her to soccer games, who held her through every heartbreak until she met Michael, and then suddenly it was like all that history didn't matter. When she got married, I remember she insisted Harold walk her halfway down the aisle with me. Said it would be symbolic of her new life blending with her new family, and I told myself not to take it personally. I smiled in the wedding photos. I raised my glass at the reception, but even then I felt it a shift, a turning, a loss I couldn't name yet. Father's Day used to mean Layla making pancakes and climbing into bed with me and her mother, giggling between us, sticky with syrup and love. But after my wife died, everything changed. Grief does that. It doesn't just take the person, it takes the glue. And once the glue was gone, Layla started drifting toward Michael's family like a leaf pulled by a different current. Harold and Susan had money, charm, polish. They hosted brunches with mimosas and jazz music. They talked about hedge funds and vacation homes, while I, a retired carpenter with calloused hands and a pension, stood in the corners of those parties, holding a glass I didn't want and wondering when my daughter stopped seeing me as someone worth introducing with pride. This Father's Day, she texted me 2 days in advance, said, "Brunch at 11. We've got something special planned for the dads." And I actually felt hopeful. I ironed my good shirt, the one she bought me years ago. I polished my shoes. I even brought a toy truck for my grandson, Henry. I was early, as always. I watched from the porch as Michael's parents pulled up in their German SUV, kissed Layla on the cheek like royalty. I was next, but her hug felt like an afterthought, quick, distracted, like she had somewhere else to be. I tried to shake off the unease. I smiled through brunch, though no one really spoke to me beyond pleasantries. When it was time for gifts, she brought out to Beggs one sleek, velvet, ribboned. The other crumpled, cartoonish, and handed the velvet box to Harold first. He opened it slowly, theatrically, unveiling a gleaming Rolex, and the crowd erupted like he'd just been knighted. "You deserve it," Layla beamed. "You've been like a father to me." And that was the moment. That phrase, that specific phrase. I felt my breath catch, like a father to me, while I sat 6 feet away, clutching novelty socks that didn't even fit. I didn't cry. Not then. I said thank you, smiled. I even played with Henry afterward, pretending I didn't see the way Layla steered him back to Harold every time I got too close. The moment I stood up to leave, no one stopped me. Layla gave me a wave like I was a delivery guy. Michael said, "Drive safe," without looking up, and Harold. He was busy checking the time on his new Rolex. I sat in my car for 20 minutes. Before I could turn the key, and I drove home, placed the socks on the kitchen table, and stared at them for a long time. I told myself it wasn't a big deal, that I was being too sensitive. But the truth is, it wasn't just about the socks. It was about everything they stood for. Displacement, rejection, erasure. I raised her. I broke my back, working overtime to pay for her braces, her first car, her college tuition. I took out a second mortgage so she wouldn't drown in student debt. I never asked for anything in return, not even gratitude. All I wanted was to be remembered, to be valued, to be seen. But somewhere along the way, Harold replaced me in her eyes. Maybe it was the suits, the money, the way he fit so seamlessly into the image she wanted her life to project. Maybe I was too rough around the edges, too much of a reminder of where she came from, not where she was going. I thought about calling her, about telling her how much it hurt, but I didn't. I knew how that conversation would go. She'd say I was overreacting, that it wasn't about the gifts, that she loves me equally. But love isn't just words, it's choices, it's attention, it's acknowledgement. And in that backyard on Father's Day, I wasn't acknowledged, I was tolerated. So I stopped calling. I stopped showing up. A few months later, I heard from a neighbor that Layla had posted a long tribute to Harold on social media. Happy birthday to the best dad a girl could ask for. I didn't even get a phone call that day. I deleted the app. I stopped checking. I stopped hoping. The last time I saw her was at Henry's 6th birthday party. I brought him a wooden train set. I spent weeks carving by hand. Layla smiled, said thanks, and then set it aside without even opening the box. Harold gave Henry an iPad, a tease, which one he played with first. And I finally realized I was fighting a battle I had already lost. The memory of who I had been in her life had been overwritten by convenience, comfort, and curated affection. But here's the thing, blood may be thicker than water, but it's not thicker than neglect. It's not thicker than repeated dismissal. It's not thicker than betrayal dressed up in brunch invitations and forced politeness. So I stepped back. I stopped showing up where I wasn't wanted, and now, every Father's Day, I go to the lake. I bring the photo album Layla used to love flipping through as a kid. I sit on the bench where I first taught her to fish, and I remember the girl who once called me her hero. I don't know where she went. I don't know if she'll ever come back. But I do know this Sai was a good father. I showed up. I stayed. I sacrificed. And if that's not enough to earn a watch, so be it. But I won't accept socks wrapped in silence and pretend it's love. Not anymore.